Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. What branding really means on Yellowstone, according to Reilly. Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone is a love letter to ranching, with many scenes centering around cowboys herding cattle and putting in a hard day's work. However, the cows aren't the only living things being branded by hot iron in this universe. To become part of the Dutton family's inner circle, their employees must bear a mark on their skin that forever binds them to the ranch, which is arguably worse than a prison sentence. That said, the alternative is a ride to the infamous Yellowstone train station that no one ever returns from, so you pick which fate is worse. Reilly, who plays Beth Dutton in Paramount's neo-Western series, has her own views on what the branding means for the denizens of the Dutton family's ranch. While she acknowledges that the Y symbol represents allegiance and loyalty to a family of murderers, the Yellowstone star also believes that it has a more profound meaning. As she told Screen Rant, "If you leave, you're on the train, because there are some dodgy things that are happening at Yellowstone, and in order for it to survive, you've got to keep your mouth shut." It's a little bit of Western mafia happening here, but on a deeper emotional level to that, I think the branding is significant because they are all bound to this place emotionally, and they cannot escape. It will never be washed off. Of course, some characters have tried to back out of their pact with the Duttons in the past, and they could have gotten away with it if they were more careful. However, history has shown that the family claims its pound of flesh eventually. John Dutton viewed Wade Morrow, Boots Sutherland, as a thief as soon as he turned his back on the ranch. You see, Wade was a branded man, making him John's property, so he couldn't just walk away without paying his debt. Wade eventually got lynched for his misdemeanor, with Rip Wheeler, Cole Hauser, ordering Walker, Ryan Bingham, to cut the symbol off the old man's chest afterward. The fact Wade lived for so long after betraying his former employees shows that the Duttons don't mind playing the waiting game, but he should have left the state when he had the chance, as there are no storylines in the first 2 seasons of Yellowstone that suggest the family is in any rush to skin Wade at all. Walker, meanwhile, is another branded cowboy who tried to get out of his deal with the Duttons. Unlike Wade, though, he actually lived afterward, but only because Rip tricked the singing cowboy into getting his fingerprints all over the vehicle of a murdered journalist he didn't kill. This storyline proves that the Duttons are downright evil, as Walker is an innocent fella who gets forced into servitude. The worst part, though, is that he had the chance to leave the state, but he kept singing in bars and attracted enough attention for Rip to find him. Despite Walker's issues with the Duttons, he also represents the significant meaning of the symbol that Reilly mentioned in the aforementioned interview. Sure, he views the ranch as a rotten haven of evil, but he reluctantly accepts it as his home, proving that he's emotionally bound to the place in his own way. The drama of Yellowstone often simmers with gunfights, generational conflict, and moral ambiguity. But one of the most haunting and symbolically loaded acts in the series is the branding of the ranch hands. That searing, painful ritual, the moment a character accepts the Yellowstone brand, isn't just a plot device. According to Reilly, who plays the indomitable Beth Dutton, it's a deeply emotional and philosophical moment that defines loyalty, identity, and belonging in the Dutton world. To the casual viewer, the brand, that iconic lie burned into the flesh, may look like a twisted form of initiation, but to Reilly, and through her eyes as Beth, branding means far more. It's about choosing a side in a war that's both external and internal. It's about legacy, pain, and sometimes penance. For Reilly, who has spent years navigating Beth's chaotic psyche, the brand carries not only physical weight, but the emotional scars of loyalty to a family that demands everything, the literal and the figurative. When asked in interviews what the branding represents, Reilly often explains that it's not just a mark of employment. It's a blood oath. It's a psychological scar as much as a physical one, she once remarked. For many of the men, and even Rip, it's a symbol of where they belong when the rest of the world has rejected them. For Beth, it's different. She doesn't wear the brand, but she is the brand in spirit, born into it, broken by it, rebuilt by it. That distinction is crucial. The brand on Yellowstone doesn't just mark someone as a cowboy. It's an admission that they are property of something greater than themselves. The Dutton legacy, the ranch, and in some cases, John Dutton's vision of family. Rip Wheeler, for instance, branded as a young man after being saved by John Dutton, wears the mark-like armor. He is the ultimate branded soul, fiercely loyal, battle-hardened, and willing to kill for the ranch. To Reilly, Rip's brand is both a crown and a curse. He wears it like a badge, but it's also a wound that never healed. It tells you where his loyalty lies, but also what he had to give up to earn that loyalty. Branding as belonging. Reilly is quick to point out that branding on Yellowstone doesn't come without anguish. There's nothing casual about it, she said. It's not like getting a tattoo. It's a choice that people often make when they have nothing left to lose and everything to prove. Characters like Jimmy, Walker, and Lloyd all bear the brand. Each time the brand is given, the show lingers on the pain, the sizzle of flesh, the howls of agony, not just to shock the audience, but to drive home the sacrifice. The brand isn't just about loyalty to John Dutton. It's about loyalty to a tribe forged by survival. And yet, Beth Dutton, perhaps the most loyal of all, remains unbranded. Why? Beth, the unbranded soul. Beth doesn't need the brand, Reilly explains. She is Yellowstone. Her bones are made of that soil. The brand would almost diminish her power, as if she needed permission to belong. It's a compelling observation. Beth's connection to the ranch is ancestral, raw, and irrevocable. She doesn't need a seared emblem to prove it. Instead, Beth becomes the brander, not literally, but emotionally. She tests loyalty, dispenses judgment, and protects the ranch with a ferocity that would make a lioness look tame. She doesn't ask for the brand because she doesn't answer to anyone, Reilly has said, but she expects others to prove themselves because she's had to do it over and over again. Beth's pain, unlike the others, isn't hidden beneath a shirt sleeve. It's out in the open. Her scars are emotional, psychological, scars from losing her mother, her fertility, her innocence. And in many ways, Reilly suggests, those scars are more profound than any iron could deliver. A brotherhood of the damned. The men who wear the brand often do so as an act of redemption. A lot of these guys are criminals, ex-cons, people with nowhere to go, Reilly notes. The brand gives them identity, but it also chains them to the ranch. And that's the paradox. The brand frees them even as it enslaves them. Once you're branded, you don't leave. You can't. Those who try, like Walker, often face death. The brand isn't just a promise of loyalty. It's a warning that betrayal will not be forgiven. Reilly compares it to a monastic order with guns. She says, it's a code, a brotherhood, a way of making sure that those who are in the circle will die before they betray it. It's brutal, but it's also kind of beautiful in a twisted way. The branding of identity. For Reilly, branding in Yellowstone speaks to a broader truth about identity. We all carry invisible brands, she reflects. Trauma, choices, loyalty, those are the things that shape who we are. In this show, we just make it literal. The showrunner, Taylor Sheridan, has created a universe where the American West is less about freedom and more about loyalty, pain, and sacrifice. The brand becomes a narrative device to explore what people are willing to give up to belong and what they gain in return. Branding as mythology. Reilly also recognizes the mythic resonance of the brand. It's not just about land or cattle. It's about carving your name into the story of America. It's like saying, I was here, I bled for this, I chose this. In that sense, the brand is more than a mark of ownership. It's a symbol of defiance in the face of time and change. The Duttons know the world is closing in, Developers, politicians, and modernity are all knocking at the gates. The brand is their line in the sand, a statement that some things are still sacred. Conclusion: beyond the flesh. In the end, branding on Yellowstone isn't about pain. It's about permanence. And for Reilly, it's a metaphor for the entire show. Everyone on this ranch is branded, she says. Some on the outside, some on the inside, but none of us get out without scars. Whether it's a ranch hand sealing his loyalty, Rip affirming his place beside John, or Beth waging war to protect her family's name, the brand is the soul of Yellowstone. And according to Reilly, it's not just a mark, it's a destiny.